My sister begged me to carry her baby, but the doctors said no.
You should listen to the doctors.
So just over 4 months ago, I gave birth to my fourth and last child. It was a high-risk pregnancy, and the birth was very difficult. Me and baby are both fine now, thank goodness. My doctors advised me that it'd be best to not have any more kids, and I agreed. My husband just recently had a vasectomy and is now recovering. By the way, this comes from user ThrowRA-Affectionate1, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Pretty please. As OP says, my sister and her boyfriend have tried planning for a family for a while, but recently found out she can't conceive. She has been very upset about this, and I do feel sorry for her. Our family mentioned adoption or surrogacy for them, and even though my sister's boyfriend was on board, my sister said she needed time to think. Well, a couple of nights ago, my sister called me to tell me her and her boyfriend had agreed on surrogacy, and we talked for a bit. After a while, she brought up the fact of how I had done so well in all my pregnancies and how I must have loved being pregnant. I knew exactly where this was going and reminded her how my last pregnancy was, and yet here she told me everything was fine now, so what was my issue? I told her even though I'm fine now, I won't put myself through that again, and just because I am fine now doesn't mean everything will be fine the next time. She then straight up asked me if I would be her surrogate or not. I straight up told her, no. She then started screaming into the phone about how selfish I am. Okay. And how I needed to look out for my sister and help her when she needed it most. I then told her I would help her with anything else, but I was not putting my own health at risk and potentially leaving my kids without a mom and my husband a widow.
Yeah.
At this point, I get it. There's other options. Could you find another surrogate? I cannot.
At this point, we're not being nice anymore. If you've explained that this could, lead to your passing and she's calling you selfish for it, we are not nice anymore.
This is my life on the line. And
this is how selfish can you be to ask me to do that?
yeah.
Right back at you.
Bingo. My sister went on to continually scream about how selfish I was being and how much of a witch I was being. At this point, I hang up the phone. I say, sorry, wrong number. I hung up on her. I didn't think about it and went to bed. The next morning, my phone was blowing up with Facebook messages and calls from friends and family. My sister had gone on Facebook after I hung up on her, and she went on and witched on Facebook about me. That's annoying.
That's insane.
She went on about how I wouldn't let her be a mom and how I had 4 kids while not being a nice sister and give her a baby. Who
on Facebook, though, is reading that and being like, oh my God, you're so right. She really should get pregnant and deliver your baby. You're so right.
Yeah, and okay.
I hope no one's on her side.
If everyone is pinging me and messaging me, and then I would post on hey guys, so
here's
the doctor
reason.
said, first, my last pregnancy was high risk. If I do this, there is a high chance I will not make it, my kids will not have a mother, and my husband will lose a wife.
And also, high risk also just means that, the
baby won't even
might have difficulties.
It's the sister's annoying. I was apparently being selfish. My mom and a small handful of people are extremely angry at me and calling me all sorts of names for being selfish, while my dad, brothers, and several other people are taking my side. Everyone on my sister's side doesn't want to hear my side of the story. Of course they don't. They think I'm doing this for my own selfish intentions and not my health. My mom and dad have been fighting back and forth now because my dad won't take my sister's side. And this is exactly when we were kids. My mom would always take her baby's side. I'm extremely pissed off that this has caused problems to this point that my sister gets family involved. I should not have to put my own health at risk for her. I don't think I'm being selfish at all, but I'm not sure how to fix this. Any advice, please? We have an edit. I will not give up or donate one of my kids to my sister.
That's
I would
insane.
hope not.
Who said that?
Who said that?
Who told you to do that?
Did she say that? I'm sorry. We have some comments, but I think you need to air this out no matter what. Oh, you're not going to hear it? It's straight up my life. And if someone says, oh, then get the doctor's note. Doctor's note. Boom. If I have to post proof of this, I shouldn't have to. But the fact that people are coming at me.
Insanity. Disgusting, all of them.
We have a comment. Your sister needs therapy. not a baby. If you feel like laying out your counter argument with any medical documentation on social media to demonstrate another pregnancy is a health risk, do that. If people still want to come for you, then block and go no contact. Explain that you are not an incubator, and those that want to treat you as such will neither have access to you or your children. Maintain your relationship with your father and brothers. Do not maintain one with your mother. She is a favorite, and that makes her toxic. You don't need that in your life. And we have an update. I'm going to get straight into it.
Please do.
So, I did what a few people suggested, and I wrote a post on Facebook about my situation. I used a few of those people's words. Quite a few people who were on my sister's side told me that when they read her post, they messaged her, and she told them about our conversation, but didn't bring up my problems with my last pregnancy. Shocking.
Wow, I'm shocked.
And those are the people who went to full arms without asking you.
Yikes.
Those people suck. I would literally send them the message, and be like, all right, cool, clear, block.
So glad you asked for my side of things. Bye.
Yep. And they're all disgusted for her to keep such information like this out of her post. A few family members who I thought knew about my situation didn't actually know and called to apologize. A few people still think I'm not doing the right thing, though. Those people are idiots. Several people tagged my sister in my post to tell her off, but she has blocked everyone and called to scream at me for writing about personal information. Girly pop, you started this. I ended up hanging up on her. Her boyfriend, who doesn't go on Facebook that much, was looking through posts yesterday to find all this drama. This is going to turn out really well.
Oh, no.
He called me and explained he had no idea my sister even asked me, and even brought up finding a surrogacy with her, but she always complained it was too much, and also brought up adoption a lot, and she always said, maybe. He also told me that this was something he would have talked her out of if she brought it up to him. Needless to say, he was very much against this idea. My mom never commented on my post or said anything, so I called her to get together for lunch, and she actually agreed. Okay, but by the time I arrived, she started telling me off for going on Facebook to complain.
Did you not see the original post that mine was in response of?
Do we not remember who started this? Apparently, I should talk privately, and this was a family matter. I then asked her how my body was a family matter, and all she said was, I made you, so it's a family matter. I then went on to tell her how it wasn't, and what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, and all she said was, they will live.
Huh?
They will live.
Okay, bye. Not talking to you anymore.
What about
kidding
me? Do I get a say?
Clearly you don't care if I'm here or not, so I'm out with all the kids. We're all going, not talking to you anymore.
I'm going no contact with Mama.
Yeah, jeez.
I can live without you, Mama. I could not believe the stubbornness of this woman. I then went on to tell her that whether they lived or not, it was still going to break them. My oldest child would go back to her dad, and the younger three would stay with my husband. Separating them would break them even more. She still said they would live, and then went on to tell me that I need to do the right thing for my family, because giving birth to 4 kids isn't, so a 5th would be a big deal, and I needed to grow up and act like an adult. Aww. At this point, I'm like, all right, you have the baby. You be a surrogate.
Yeah, you have the baby then, Mom.
If it's so simple for you to say these words, you be a surrogate. Do it for the family. Oh, you can't?
What's that? Doctors told you shouldn't?
Doctor said you couldn't? Oh,
Wow.
that's a shame.
You're
Do
really
it.
not stepping up for the family there, Mom.
Ridiculous. At this point, I pretty much just got up and left. I literally cried all the way home from how angry and upset I am with this woman. Not long after that, my dad showed up at my doorstep and asked if he'd stay for a while. Apparently, he asked my mom how our lunch went, and my mom told him I was still refusing to do a simple task for my sister. And when my dad pressed her for information, she wouldn't give him anything else. So, he told her off for not thinking of all her kids instead of her golden child, because things could end worse this time. My mother only told him that it's my fault then for not looking after myself. So my dad left her. We sat down and I told him what actually happened. He wasn't happy at all.
Go Dad,
At least
though.
one of your parents has some sense.
Yeah.
My dad even kept both my brothers informed too, and they've tried talking some sense into our mom, but she still isn't budging. In all honesty, this has depressed me. I feel my mom is grandchildren hungry, if that's a thing, and isn't really thinking of the negatives here. She's ruining relationships with 3 of her children and her husband to make her baby happy. In all honesty, there have always been situations between any of us siblings where my sister gets away with everything. My mom never told her no, So she is definitely a spoiled child. There would have been some point when me or my brothers wouldn't be speaking to our mom or sister. So it's now come to that time where everyone is starting to cut them off. By the way, you should never cut us off, because we have full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to your favorite podcast app such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left. The fact that you guys do this recurring cycle of, everyone pretty much cuts off like mom and sister because they just won't stop, that's crazy. Again, she's like not diverting. It's like, oh, your sister, like, you did this. I wouldn't talk to my mom anymore. The fact that she said, oh, if I did do this, no, the kids will live. If you don't, that's fine. They'll live.
It's insane.
That's not a mother right there. I'm sorry.
No.
We have a little bit left. My dad has been living with me since he left my mom, and the kids and my husband love having him around. I know he will eventually try talking to my mom again, but whether they get back together or not just depends. In all honesty, it seems like my mom doesn't care. And if they do divorce, I'll probably be to blame. Haha, I can already see it happening. Oh, and that's the end of that story. That sucks.
My mother's favoritism tore our family apart, and now I've had enough.
I've had enough too.
I come from a Middle Eastern country. My parents have 3 sons and 1 daughter. While I am the youngest, 32 male, my oldest brother, John, 50 male, is by far the favorite child by my mother. My father doesn't express opinions often. When John was born, he had many health problems, so my mom practically lived with him in the hospital for the first year. By the way, this comes from throwaway quite Mimley. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let's know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, every time we talk about something, the topic changes to John. I can tell them that I have problems at work. Oh, John just solved his problems with his boss. Take advice from him. When talking to him, nothing of the sort happened. My mom expedited a meeting he had with his boss. It might be in my head, but I even have the feeling that she sometimes addresses my girlfriend Joanna as Jonna. Except for my sister, Mary, 40 female, and my parents, who are too old, all of the siblings moved to different countries. John to Europe, James to Canada, and me to Australia. My parents visit John in Europe about 3 times a year for 2 to 3 weeks at a time in his country. They spend more time with John's family than with my sister. They visited me, or the second eldest, James, once. James moved to Canada about 6 years ago. My mother had a lot of problems with James and Mary. Ended up in group therapy with both. Both times my mom claimed that their respective spouse is taking her child away from her and whispering mean things to them about her, etc., etc. While Mary had more emotional problems, mom doesn't love her as much as John, mom doesn't care about her children, mom keeps on alienating her spouse. James's problems were very monetary. He claimed that the parents gave him less money than to John, as well as babysitting his kids less. As the last one to leave the nest, I had some more knowledge about my parents' finances. And I can say that, except for one incident, which I will address later, my parents gave about $250K to John, about $300K to James, about $100K to Mary, and about $50K for me. I went back to grad school and have not gotten married yet, so I didn't need much. In about 2010, my parents received a plot of land near their house and told all the children that if they wish to have it, they can, if they agree to the following rules. A. The building of the plot will be led and mainly financed by the child. B. The child will live in said plot and help take care of the parents who are growing old and in increasing need of aid. Mary, who held a government position on the other side of the country, and me, who only just finished high school, were out of the picture. John and James could not decide. James insisted that due to the high value of the land, it needed to be sold and split between the siblings, while my parents said that it's a no-go. After 2 years of debating, John picked up the glove and built the house. Later, living in it for about 4 years, before leaving the country due to work relocation, not by choice, but this is another story, James felt and still feels robbed. The main incident happened half a year ago. My parents, who are still in need of aid, deciding to buy a house in Europe right next to John, claiming, this is an investment for the future. When we will pass on, this house will be passed to you, OP, while I live and plan on settling in Australia, which is in fact very far from Europe.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a ways.
For us, it's pretty close.
Right now, yes.
Yes.
When James heard about it, he blocked my parents. And a month ago, after he calmed down, he told me that he decided to cut ties with my parents, that he felt second best at most, and that he couldn't shake the feeling that this animosity towards his wife continued for so long. And he is afraid to have the same treatment towards his kids. He is also in therapy. My mother, on the other hand, is crying nonstop about reaching out to him, about trying to get back in touch, and about seeing her grandkids. She asks about him every day, and I don't know how to break it to her. The worst thing is she does not accept blame or guilt. She constantly gaslights things about everything being his fault, etc. And now I'm stuck in the middle of this charade. And she acts as if I'm trying to change her in her old age is some sort of a crime. How can I tell her, look, his life is better now without you. It's your fault he cut you off knowingly. If you are ever given a second chance, you will need to earn it. How can I convey the situation to my mom? Do you have any advice regarding solving this? Thank you in advance. And we do have an update. But first.
With John being in Europe, because they live in the Middle East, that's probably the closest of the kids other than Mary and OP. Because one of them lives in Canada.
OP's in Australia.
OP's in Australia.
John is in Europe.
Yeah.
James is in Canada. And Mary's
On the
the
other
one
side of
that
the country.
stayed, I think.
Yeah,
but
she's like in the same country. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like, what has your dad been in this, like with these decisions? Because it looks like your mom's just like the one doing everything. Obviously, there's a golden child scenario here with a lot of the details you've given us. That's really weird. They're like, oh yeah, we bought this house like in Europe, but it's yours, OP. Like, thanks. I didn't want it.
I live in Australia.
But I want to live in Australia.
Thanks so much.
They're okay, well, it'll probably just go to John. So
yeah. Update. I have decided not to take any drastic measures and simply dismiss any time my parents try to probe me with next time maybe, I don't know, we'll see, etc. Recently, as you might be surprised, the Middle East is having issues, and I felt like this was the first time James tried to probe about the family, if they're all safe, thankfully. My mom keeps writing letters to James and sending them via email. In these, she tries to guilt trip him into sending her information, such as pictures of his kids, etc., with wishes for him to soften his stone heart. And every time I hear about this, I'm pissed time and time again.
That's so funny that OP gets pissed off. Can you imagine how James feels?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me.
She keeps them all about herself, and there is so little, if any, care for him, how he is doing, and what happened between them. After the last time, she sent me one, saying I was pissed out loud and told her off, saying that if she keeps sending it to him, he will block her email as well, something his friend slipped out. He does read them, at least until 6 months ago. And she asked me, well, what letter would actually help? Can you show me? I immediately thought that this might be a golden opportunity to let her see herself from the outside and might be the only one in sight. So I agreed with one condition, that she would never send it. If she decides she likes it, she would have to write something herself in her own words and her own interpretation. She was pissed. How dare I claim she might do such a thing? Such blatant plagiarism, etc., etc. She might have said more, but I couldn't care less. And it's not as if she would do such a thing, would she? So after working with a friend, she wrote the letter. James, I wanted to apologize for everything. The image of our conversation hurting you for all these years is so painful. In addition to the idea that you feel the need to protect yourself from us, your own parents. I cannot undo what has been done up till now, but I can apologize, try to change, and maybe, slowly, we might be able to heal what is broken. Yet, I cannot do it without your help. I know our actions made you feel unequal, that John is the priority, and I am so sorry for that. We have no such will or feeling, and I apologize that our actions caused you to feel like that. We have very difficult times being disconnected from you, your kids, and your wife. In addition, I would like to apologize to your wife. Her addition to our lives included you drifting apart from us, and a lot of this frustration ended up against her with no fault of her own. And for this, we are sorry, as for only thanks to her, we received our wonderful grandkids, for which we can only be thankful. I think daily about Aaron, Billy, and Charles, and wholeheartedly wish to have some sort of relationship with them. Next year, OP's wedding will take place where we are going to meet. I would like to meet you there in a positive manner so as to allow OP the peace on his special day. He does not deserve that our situation will darken one of the most important days of his life, especially with the current situation in our country. This day is not ours, it is his, and we need to make sure he is the center of this occasion. We need to make this work not only for him, but for us as well. I don't wish to go back to our previous relationship. I wish to recreate and reconstruct a new one in which I can assure your importance to me in a way that will be acceptable for both sides in a constructing, enriching manner, and would love your help rebuilding it. Love, Mom. After writing it, I kept it to myself until my mother would raise this topic again, which took about a month. As we were talking about it, I reminded her of my one rule, to which she responded, yeah, we already talked about it, and I sent it to her. After reading it, she told me I'm a wonderful son and she is happy to have me. She said that she has read it and now understands my position about this better. Of course, I didn't tell her I'm not the only one who wrote it, but I let her think whatever she wants. She said she agrees with everything but the paragraph about his wife, which she will continue to hate. And other than that part, she agrees. She thinks about erasing it and sending it as is to him. I was pissed and lost it at her. Literally one condition, and she pisses all over it. I told her that if she does anything of the sort, she could kiss my help goodbye from now on, and I was much less nice. She backtracked, said she was kidding. We both know she was not, and I told her to watch out. She started going to a shrink. Once again, she tried before and stopped after 3 times at most. My guess is that she couldn't stand the mirror and preferred closing her eyes to it, but this time she will be persistent. It lasted 4 times. She wrote another letter. About a month after, more of the same previous guilt trips. Took absolutely nothing from my letter, for better or worse. When I told her to look at the differences and see for herself, yours was integrating while mine was not. And with this, my hope was lost. But, by the way, all of your hope doesn't have to be lost, because there's more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit more.
She's sending that letter. I think she likes toying with you too, OP.
I'm sure.
She's like, oh, I'm joking. My finger's on the send button. I'm going to send it. No, I'm kidding, but I'm going to send it. Your mom is someone who just doesn't care. No matter what you say, what you do, the fact that she's like, yeah, whatever. It's like she brushes it off. She's in her own world where she thinks she knows everything. And obviously, like a lot of parents will act like that, but she doesn't care about your opinion. She wants to do it her own way. She thinks her way is the only way. She's going to do it. And once she does it, I'm not saying you should cut off ties with her right now or like you're done with her. But once she sends it, she has spat all over you, your ideas, your ideals, your help, whatever she wanted from you. I would give up. At that point, I'm like, all right, cool, you did it. I told you the consequences of your actions. Now you lost another one.
Yeah, we've got a little bit left, though. I'm going back to my previous bubblehead mode and stonewalling every time they talk about him. The memorial for my hope with this subject will be held at the next Milwaukee Brewers game. Bring adult beverages. Regarding myself, we sent the papers and are now officially husband and wife. I am the luckiest man alive. The ceremony will only take place next year, and I have already instructed my friends to block any chance of mischief from my mom. That is the end of that story.
My cousin's wives accused me of stealing their husbands, so I told them to leave.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
I, 28 female, come from a very religious community. My parents immigrated to our country as refugees, and the only family they had nearby were distant relatives. But they became close and built their own community. There were originally 7 sets of aunts and uncles and their many kids. It's a huge family.
Big old family.
This started before I was born, so it's been going on for 30 plus years. By the way, this comes from user 7koi in a trench coat. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so please let us know what you do in the comments. OP says, we all grew up extremely close. Some of us were born months apart because of our moms planning their pregnancies all together. We range from 33 to 17 in our current group, plus younger siblings and kids. Our parents raised us like siblings. They drove us to school together, enrolled us in the same religious classes, vacationed together, and rotated childcare. They even moved in the same neighborhood, so no house was more than 10 minutes away. Some parents breastfed each other's kids.
Wow.
Okay. And in Islam, that makes you milk siblings, which means you can't marry each other and have relaxed modesty boundaries. So even though most of us aren't biologically that close, we are family. None of us would ever see each other romantically, and our parents treat us like siblings too. As adults, we're still inseparable. We go on holidays, hang out after work, and have regular game nights. The cousins with kids share babysitting duties. Our dynamic is extremely tight-knit. We all have silly nicknames from childhood that just stuck. For example, Wawa for a cousin named Aurora. It sounds dumb, but calling each other by real names now feels cold and rude. Usually only family uses these names, though spouses eventually pick them up too. Until recently, no one had an issue with this setup. But 2 of my cousins, 29 male and 28 male, recently got married, and their wives, 27 female and 28 female, have joined our gatherings like game nights, barbecues, and kids' parties. A lot of these happen at my house or my parents' house because I love hosting. As a single woman who lives alone in a big house, I've always got space and it's just easier for the family. From the start, both wives seem to have an attitude towards some of us, especially me. I originally thought it was because they didn't know me well, as I'd get busy as the hostess. But it might also be because I'm friendly and share a lot of hobbies and professional interests with those cousins. We talk often and they're over at my place often. I guess that rubbed the wives the wrong way. Last Saturday, I hosted an impromptu pizza night because I just bought pizza oven. Cute. Pizza nights are very fun.
That sounds like fun.
Since pizza night wasn't planned, only about half the cousins could make it. The 2 cousins and their wives came early. After hanging out for a bit, the guys left to grab donuts, leaving me, the 2 wives, and 2 younger female cousins at my place. We were chatting in the kitchen while I prepped toppings when things suddenly turned nasty.
Ruh-roh. What the frick does that mean?
Nasty. The wives started asking pointed questions about my relationship status, mocking me for putting more effort into family than dating. One almost called me a witch, in our own language, for not wearing a headscarf around the guys, wearing revealing dresses, and trying to steal their men. Oh, you're jealous.
Oh, so you're calling me hot. Oh, wow, thank you.
You're just a little jelly.
Well,
You want
thank
some
you,
peanut
darling.
butter with that jelly, huh? Then they started picking apart everything. My dress, body, house, hobbies. They even called me a pick-me for liking things like gaming and robotics. It was a full-on tag team insult session. I was so shocked I just stared at them, and my younger cousins were too stunned to say anything. Eventually, I stood up and told them to get out of my house. They looked at me like I was insane. It was raining, and their husbands had the car. But I told them calmly, but coldly, leave before I drag you out myself. I opened the door, pointed outside, and told them to get off my property. They finally left, and I locked the door, turned off the porch light. Yes, I was being petty, and just stood there shaking with anger. My cousins comforted me and texted their brothers to explain what happened. Apparently, the wives were mad that I used childhood nicknames for their husbands, names they weren't allowed to use. They were also mad that I spent too much time with the cousins and talked to them often. They completely ignored the fact that they could have joined us anytime. I even lent one cousin my Switch so he could try to get his wife into gaming. But apparently, everything about me just irritated them. You're just better. Now, I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole. I can see how my closest to my cousins might make their wives uncomfortable, and maybe I should have been more aware of that. But I still feel like I was justified in kicking them out after they insulted me in my own home. I feel like this whole thing could have been avoided if they communicated with either me or their husbands. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'd want to put boundaries between me and the boys if the wives ask. That might make me the a-hole too. So, am I the a-hole for kicking them out into the rainy night after they accused me of trying to steal my cousins, who I see as almost as my brothers? And we have an update. Angie, what say you?
I mean, I think you know what your answer is. I feel like you know that you're definitely not the a-hole for that at all.
No.
No.
Crazy to start making fun of me in every aspect and just calling me out in my own home for pizza night, by the way.
It was like so many different things that came out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't even like OP did something different that like brought up an insult each time. It was like one thing happened and then they just started saying all of this stuff. Well, I guess it might not have happened
They were just
that way.
airing it
but
out. They were just
either
like,
way.
you know what? We let the floodgates open a little bit. Might as well
Yeah.
just let it all out. We're cool,
like-
right? We're going to make pizza. We're going to make barbecue chicken.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're f***ing us out.
Huh?
Why would you do that? No.
Yeah, no, definitely not. They insulted you, and it's not like you them out because you are trying to steal their husbands, and you're like, how dare you get onto my evil
Yeah.
plan. They were being mean to you.
But we have an update. So, after I punted out my cousin's wives that night, everything turned into a blur. My other cousins were texting and calling their brothers while I just stood there trying to process what had happened. From what I understand now, the wives didn't like how close I was with their husbands, the childhood nicknames, or that the guys were often at my house after work. To be fair, they were over a lot, at least twice a week. And yes, I don't dress modestly by our community standards when I'm home. I wear short dresses, if you could call an almost knee-length dress short. But to me, these men are basically my brothers. We grew up together, and modesty rules are different between family. The guys picked their wives up about 10 to 15 minutes later. They didn't come inside or speak to me. They didn't respond to my messages that night or the next day. And the wives blocked me on social media. From what I've been told since, the cousins think their wives crossed the line, but they're still siding with them and have cut or reduced contact with me.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah, that sucks. Ugh. This morning, I went to my parents' house, trying to pretend everything was normal. Big mistake. It turns out everyone had been talking about me behind my back. My mom barely looked at me. My dad didn't speak to me at all. When my mom finally did talk, she told me that all the parents had been on the phone nonstop. Apparently, everyone thinks the wives' behavior was excusable, especially because one of them, 27 female, just announced she's 2 months pregnant. That's something to soften the blow.
Yeah, right?
It's probably one of the first babies out of this age group or demographic for the kids
Yeah.
in this community or this family.
That just sucks so much though, because if their idea is that oh well she's pregnant, we're supposed to all be so connected right now and be together as a family, it's okay, well I was, and then they just were saying all these insults that were based on nothing, and now everyone's against me.
But you had two witnesses. You had the two
Yeah.
the two other cousins were in the house, and they witnessed that, and they're the ones who messaged their brothers.
It's so hard because it's the brothers, they understand and they know OP, but they just want to be good husbands or something.
And the fact that this was sprung upon you like a trap, that you walked in there and
Honestly.
no one reached out to you.
Yeah.
Your cousins, aka your brothers, in this sense, didn't respond to you, and they talked behind your back is insane.
Yeah.
Now I'm being called cruel for throwing a pregnant woman out in the rain, while her insults toward me are being excused as pregnancy hormones. Her husband isn't mad at her, and her in-laws are defending her because it's their first grandchild. Of course. They're even pushing to have me excluded from family events for her comfort. She needs to be comfortable, because otherwise she can move back to her parents' state with the baby. The second wife's behavior is also being brushed off. Somehow, I'm now the suspicious one because the guy spent so much time with me. People are whispering that I must have been sleeping with them. Even though both cousins denied it, everyone assumes one of them must be lying, or both of them. I genuinely didn't consider the effects their accusations would have. In my culture, accusations like this destroys a woman's reputation and her family's. My own family thinks I've ruined my honor as a woman. My parents, aunts, and uncles are demanding that I prove my virginity if I want to be accepted into the family again. What?
Ew.
Okay, if I agree to it, it would probably be done in Saudi Arabia or Qatar. A gynecologist would be the one doing it. I know they do virginity certificates there, but I'm not a virgin. I never told anyone in my family for some privacy reasons. I think if I do agree to it, maybe there might be a chance I could still pass it, or my failure could be attributed to my documented history of horse riding since I was 7. I feel sick just thinking about it, to be honest. But I don't know if I have any other choice. I don't want to lose my family. If I choose a doctor, maybe I can choose a nice one who would listen to me and certify me as a virgin without having to do a test, or regardless of what the test shows. If I don't agree to the virginity testing, I will have to marry one of these uncles' brothers in a different country and stay there until my cousins' wives are comfortable with me coming back, so probably never. This man is in his 50s, but would do me the favor of marrying me? Even if I'm already pregnant? I'd be his third wife. I'd rather live in exile, thanks. And you can't get pregnant from not having spicy sleep. There's no chance. And heck, I'm pregnant. One of my cousins, not the one with the pregnant wife, called me from his office today. He wants to come by tomorrow after lunch to talk privately. I miss him, but I'm also scared of becoming his dirty little secret he hides from his wife and the family. She'll probably assume he's at work, and I doubt he'll tell her. I don't know if there's anything he could say honestly. If he forgives her and lets her get away with it all, I'll never forgive him. I've made an emergency therapy appointment because I'm beyond overwhelmed. My parents aren't taking my hesitation at the virginity test as a good sign. The man they want me to marry is in Qatar too, so I'm extremely cautious about traveling there with my family, especially my uncles. By the way, you don't have to be extremely cautious with us because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left. I'm speechless. The fact that you had witnesses and still everyone is against you.
Yeah, because it's
just
also,
like that, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like that is
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's also frustrating because it's like, this is your family. So these are the ones that know your relationship growing up because they're part of that kind of joined family that you guys had. So it's like they know your guys' relationship. They know that, like, yeah, you're just kind of comfortable. Like, they've probably been in the same room when you're comfortable and, like, less modest around them and stuff. So it's like, it's so frustrating that they know all of that and they probably have seen and experienced that. But because of these accusations, now they're believing that all of those hints are for cheating. It's like,
Which
what?
is insane.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and finish up the story. I hate that this has become my life. I know I didn't handle everything perfectly, but I never imagined it would turn into this. I gave them an out to look like the victims and accidentally legitimized their claims about me and their insults. I'm safe at my own home for now. I have a stable job, savings, and I have access to therapy. But still, it's gut-wrenching to realize that people I've loved all my life believe two women they've known for barely a year over me. And that's the end of that story.